Good, hello. In this video, I'm going to be talking over 10 different interpretations of the line of intuition in palmistry. It's a pretty significant and unique sign. It shows a person who has skills and interests in all things divinatory, the mystical, and the occult. A person it has an aptitude, an extreme sensitivity, a great connection with their abstract mind, their subconscious, their dreams, and essentially has prophetic gifts, has a potential to learn a prophetic seership, foresight, intuition. Now, ideally, you want to see this line rising, deeply marked, curved, undisturbed onto the amount of Mercury from lower lunar. And this shows someone who has an excellent sense of writing ability, actually, just an excellent ability with words all round, an orator. And interestingly, someone who utilizes this vocabulary and this ability to articulate with words, a literary genius potentially, always explores and writes about, speaks about the unknown. Clairvoyants, palmists, tarot readers, mediums, and psychics may well have this line. And if a person develops these skills, they are certainly able to be in more control of this aptitude. With training and discipline, a person with this marking, what this marking represents, will be able to truly harness this skill. And control really is the key word here because without it, it can cause a little bit of harm. And I'm going to explain a lot more about this sign over the course of this video. So stick with me. My first interpretation of this sign is when we see it rising from upper Mars, or outer Mars, I should say, and it rises up onto the Mercury Mountain. Outer Mars is the place of the future, and it's also a place of strategy and warfare as well, Mars being the god of war. Now, an intuition line stemming from this area and rising up onto Mercury really shows a person's abstract, their subconscious is deeply connected with violent nature. And because of this, they are in some way, they are inherently connected to doom. And as a result, they have these violent episodes themselves. They express themselves occasionally with outbursts. And it's just this inability to control, really. That again, this is that key word. There's an inability to keep their deep and powerful imagination under control, and in some ways controls them. They have prophetic dreams of tragic, violent um, catastrophes of the future. And if a person with this marking does indeed become a prophet and really hones their skills, they likely will become a prophet of doom and gloom and will have nothing really all that good to say. Now, when we see it in quite a different formation here, rising from lower lunar up onto outer Mars, it actually shows the opposite. It shows someone who is in great control of their intuitive abilities and is highly, again, connected with their abstract, with their deep and powerful imagination, but in a way that's very controlled. They actually have potentially hypnotic gifts, even, and are able to utilize their instinctive and intuitive abilities in a very constructive and productive way. Now, a person with this marking usually has a very positive effect on others, has a real sense of goodwill about them, has an almost magically positive effect on others, and is able to enhance the lives of others with their almost magical and hypnotic ability. They have a forceful personality, optimism, and their nature inspires others. Now, this third interpretation of the intuition line I find really fascinating here because sometimes we see the intuition line, very rarely, coming from upper lunar, the upper mount of the moon, and rising up onto Mercury, and it bows. Now, this is obviously a bowed line of intuition, the bow of intuition, as it's commonly called, and it shows a very strong need to control their obvious prophetic gifts. It shows a lack of satisfaction with their rather sporadic abilities because so often abilities of seership and that prophetic insight is just so out of our control. We have a dream, we have a vision, we see something in a portent of the wind, or and there's never that control. This person has the desire, that will to really harness and discipline that skill. They gain an ability to command their abilities at will. You'd likely expect to see an incredibly strong thumb just like this here alongside this, because this person has an immense sense of will, because they've gone through a very tough and strict regime in order to really harness and hone this skill. It's a clear sign of exceptional will. Should be said here that a person with this particular line of intuition has likely an exceptional ability to hypnotize others, especially if the amount of Neptune is strong as well. Any field in the public eye, I imagine a person really would excel in public speaking, a lawyer, politics, a salesman, one and the same. Twisting line of intuition shows someone with a twisted psychology, someone whose imagination is not content. There's a restlessness about their spirit, and as such, they have an impact on others in potentially a negative way. It's a sign of, I wouldn't say insanity, but a little bit of madness. An eccentric person, someone who is whimsical. There's certainly an uneasiness about them, an uneasy life. There's an unsteadiness about them, an reliability about them. So too is their intuitive abilities. Although they have them, they are extremely unreliable. And again, it shows that the line of intuition can at times take hold of us and control us if we don't control it. And that is what is happening here. We can harness our line of intuition. We can harness our own psychology and our own inner peace. Now, this next one is a fascinating one, and if you have this in your hands, I mean, I doubt it because it's extremely rare, but let me know in the comments if you have a line of intuition that flawlessly forms a neat triangle with the head and the fate line. It shows a flawless, innate potential for prophetic gifts. Such a person really, truly has the potential to become, I'm talking one of the great Nostradamus type greats. A gifted prophet of foresight without equal. This exceptional line of intuition works hand in hand with an exceptional mind, intellect, brain power. So essentially, this is a person who's able to not just rely on their innate gifts of foresight, but their potential for their determination and their will through what they learn as well. Now, if you've seen many of my other videos, you'll know that triangles represent study. What could be more powerful than a person who has this kind of potential alongside learning? Now, with applied effort, this is certainly someone who would more likely become a prophet of hope rather than doom, and would probably make great success from their many abilities. Humans in palmistry are not altogether good. They are struggles, they're stressful. It's where the energy becomes disrupted. Now, when an intuition line stems from an island, it shows the potential to become a great clairvoyant, and it's likely through some sort of hardship that this has occurred. It's interesting because in many cultures, it's said that in order to gain sight, we have to lose another ability. And classically, some of the best seers in history have been blind, or deaf, or mute, or in some way unable. The line of intuition for this to be true has to be clear, unobstructed, long, and rising low down, very low down on lunar, perhaps even Pluto, and rising up onto the Mercury mountain. So I want to be clear about that. This certainly shows a person to have the superb potential to become an exceptional clairvoyant. Fascinatingly, this area, Pluto, this lower depth of lunar here, well, actually, that's more like Neptune. It really shows the origin of this intuition comes from ancestral memories. And as a result, a person is inclined to sleepwalk. Time and time again, we see from this line, if we're not able to control it, it controls us. When the line of intuition is beaded, when it appears like a rosary, a line of islands, it shows a person is given to negative thoughts, to negative intuition, and likely utilizes this ability negatively. Again, they are in some way subconsciously controlled by their deep and unhealthy imagination and affect others, scare people with their profound insights. They potentially have kind of an unhealthy habit of and enjoying frightening people with their foresight, with their accuracy of doom and destruction that lies ahead. They don't, however, have an incredible control over this skill themselves. Break in the line of intuition should be carefully noted because it shows a potential disturbance in a person's psychology. Also, the potential of their intuitive abilities. At times, they may well be bang on the money, and other times, way off the mark. Essentially, there is a break in their ability to connect with their subconscious. Like his gift, there tends to be an instability about their nature. They are not reliable themselves. Instability, I should have said. Instability is not a word, is it? If the line of intuition is marked by influences coming from inside of the Mount of Venus, or in fact just from the lifeline hitting the line of intuition, it shows disturbances in a person's path towards learning their intuitive skills. It shows a disturbance from family, the domestic sphere. It shows essentially a person is opposed to learning the mystical or divinatory occult arts. It also shows that despite this, a person still perseveres on and excels in their aptitude, in their deep intuitive abilities. Thank you for watching this video on the intuition line, my 10 interpretations of this line. Let me know what you think. Do you have an intuition line? It's kind of a rare marking and it's quite often confused with a health line. Perhaps you have mediumship skills, clairvoyant skills. You see things in your dreams. You have clairvoyant abilities, foresight. Perhaps you have this line. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Thank you for watching and please subscribe.